Sports as we do every single Wednesday night. Um, I'm Zach Bruner. Trevor Lane to my right. Luke Rammer will be joining us, and it's a good time to just hang out, talk a little bit of fantasy football, ask any fantasy football questions you have. Of course, if you're watching this after the fact, definitely leave fantasy football questions in the comments. We will answer you, especially if you do so over on YouTube. So youtube.com/Flurry Sports. Leave some comments. Subscribe while you're there. But what we do here every single Wednesday night is we go over my fantasy football rankings. They are in half PPR since that's what Fantasy Pros grades me on. And then we will compare them to the rest of the industry consensus. We have done pretty well over the year. So you are in a good spot to check out rankings, which are linked in the description of our YouTube video. And definitely had a good spot to answer questions. But let's just jump in here with quarterbacks. I have Lamar Jackson at number 1, Patrick Mahomes at number 2 at the 49ers. Justin Herbert 3 versus the Seahawks. Joe Burrow 4 versus the Falcons. And I have Tom Brady at 5 at the Panthers. What do you think of those 5 quarterbacks at the top?
It's kind of weird to see Justin Herbert where he is in this ranking simply because of how bad that game was on Monday night. Shocker, another bad game with the Broncos. But you should be getting Keenan Allen back this week. I mean, Seattle's defense is a joke to everybody but the Cardinals, apparently. And we saw against the Broncos, like they need to pass the ball to be successful. He gets a ton of passing attempts, so the floor is definitely there, and his ceiling he should be able to reach pretty close to that this week. So I like him at 3.
Yeah, I think so too. And being under pressure has been a big thing for him, especially with Slater out. And I think, again, Seattle's defense isn't going to be a big deal at all. You can also run against Seattle's defense very easily. So I think that takes a little bit of pressure off of the arm of him, which is good. But obviously, I mean, these rankings look a little bit weird because of the bye weeks. We got Josh Allen out. We got Jalen Hurts out because of bye weeks. Couple of people coming back this week. I assume Dak Prescott will be back and will play versus the Lions. So obviously a very good matchup. I immediately put him at 8. That is just below Geno Smith, just above Tua, who has risen from the dead. And I think before the end of the week, I'll probably move Dak up to 7 over Geno Smith. But that's one of those things where like I feel better with myself ranking Geno Smith above Dak Prescott just for like, happiness levels throughout the week. That's where I'm at there. But what do you think of Dak Prescott coming back? Obviously, coming off of thumb injury, like a joint above his thumb. Do you have confidence in him?
Not really. I think the biggest thing for me, while I kind of look up his exact numbers, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with CD Lamb. Obviously, I think he's a big receiver either way, but I mean, the stats don't lie. Cooper Rush loved CD Lamb a lot. But Dak, I mean, he didn't play that much, granted, in that first game, but he wasn't very good at all against Tampa Bay, and he should have been better in that game. I would be willing to bet they're rushing him back a little early. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the throw. But against Detroit, there really shouldn't be too many problems on his end. So I think that'll be a pretty good test for him because if he can't perform against Detroit, who knows? Maybe they sit him out against Chicago and the bye, get back healthy for Green Bay.
I actually think they sat him out longer than he needed to be out. Like just because they were winning, they just kept him out. Like they didn't think they would be winning, so they kept winning games. And miraculously, as soon as Cooper Rush throws 3 interceptions or whatever, Dak got cleared. So I do think they were accurate in their initial timetable, and he probably could have come back a couple weeks ago, but they were just riding the hot hand. And obviously, to your point, Dak didn't look very good before the injury. So if they brought him back and he struggled at any point while Cooper Rush had been looking good in winning games, it would have been at least a mini nightmare in Dallas. So the timing, people are talking about how the stars seem to align, and I think it was a manufactured constellation here. So I like Dak. Like I'm starting him over Geno Smith this week in a league. So That's where my confidence is at, even though this is a Geno Smith revenge game, which I love. And that might be enough to convince me before the end of the week. But as of now, I do have Dak above him in my heart, in my brain, but in my actual rankings, Geno Smith is above him right now. Taylor Heineke, he's going to be playing against Green Bay. I have him at 23. He's a weird one because he does run, so he will be picking up yards with his legs. Again, he's someone who could probably rise before the end of the week. I just need to think about the Packers a little bit more, and he'll probably rise up. In my mind, anyone from number 19, if you're looking at the rankings, who's Matt Ryan through probably Kenny Pickett at 25 are interchangeable. They're all just sort of there to me.
Yeah, Heineke's a really interesting name because obviously the last, weeks 14 through 18, he really struggled last year. But week 7 against Green Bay, I mean, outside of Packer fans, not a lot of people understood that game was really close. If he didn't dive down too early, he has another rushing touchdown. They could very easily have won that game, and he would have scored about 26 fantasy points. And this is not, if he completed this long pass, as if he just, went an extra half yard further. So he'll be an interesting guy, especially with the way the Packers have trended lately. I guess, I am interested to see what the Packers do because I thought they would have come out firing against the Jets and they didn't do that. So, who knows if they can do that against Washington in Washington, I believe.
Yep, in Washington. And we do have a question here on Twitch. From BT, he trades away Devontae Smith and Jeff Wilson Jr. for Dameon Pierce. I think you could probably get more. Or, I'd try to get some kind of wide receiver back that's worth your while. I think Devontae Smith's pretty good. And Jeff Wilson Jr., you're obviously trading him on a low, and I think he's probably pretty good this week. So I think I would not do that trade. It's close.
I think it for me depends on obviously like everything what your roster lookup is because if you have plenty of wide receivers then I think this is a great trade. The only problem I have with Smith is I think he's really good too. His targets are really inconsistent. I haven't watched the Eagles a lot, so I can't really speak on that. But his targets from week 2, 7, 12, which is obviously great, and then 4, 11 is great, and then 5 again. So in those low target games, he does rely on touchdowns, but it's just tough to get a barometer for where he levels up.
Luke, what do you think about this trade? If you can see it,
I guess there's obviously in a vacuum. I think I'd rather have Dameon Pierce.
I think he's good. I again, for sure. Like if Devontae Smith is like your wide receiver 4, maybe, then I would do it. But like if you're starting him, like Jeff Wilson's gonna be good this week.
Yeah,
just relax.
yeah.
That's where I'm at.
That's fair.
Where my rankings align this week are pretty closely with the consensus on quarterbacks, which is fine, I guess. I'm 4 spots higher on Kenny Pickett at 25. That's the only one I'm really higher on. And then I'm 3 spots lower on Matt Ryan at 19. 4 lower on Bailey Zappi. That's just because I currently have Mac Jones ranked, but he'll move a little bit. I'm 3 lower on Zach Wilson at 27 as well. But is there any other quarterback you guys want to talk about? It feels like a weird week for this position.
Yeah, I was wondering, one of the guys that I'm looking at and I'm having troubles with starting in leagues is Marcus Mariota. Obviously, we know he has a super, for the most part, solid floor. I expected him to get bodied by San Francisco, and he looked incredible. Obviously, thanks a lot to that one rushing touchdown. But he also didn't turn the ball over, 2 passing touchdowns. Cincinnati's another bad matchup. Do you see anything different in the Cincinnati defense that'll cause him more problems this week?
I mean, I guess because I think they have more depth at edge rusher. Like that would be the only thing. But I'm not really nervous. Like this Atlanta offensive line is so good. It feels like a bunch of just rejects all on one team, and they shouldn't be good at football, but they're amazing. And then they go into the locker room and they chug beers with their head coach, and they're just like they're fucking buzzing right now. I love this team. It's such a fun team. So like this is going to be a competitive game. And again, like if Mariota, to your point, just doesn't turn it over, he's a top 15 quarterback every week. That's all he has to do. I don't know. Yeah, I suspect he passes more this week because I think the Bengals offense is going to be better than the 49ers offense. That's about it. I don't know. What's your thoughts on Mariota, Luke?
I think I'm aligned with what it sounds like, Zach, you're saying. I mean, if Marcus Mariota does turn the ball over, he does produce a usable fantasy game from your quarterback, right? I mean, obviously Marcus Mariota is not the guy who's going to come out and give you 30 points a game or, throw for 6 touchdowns or anything like that. But I mean, I'm aligned with you. I mean, I don't know how many times Mariota's going to score below 10. I know that's not a great bar for a quarterback, but I mean, I think it's at least 10 to 15 guaranteed points for Marcus Mariota week by week.
Yeah, and if you had Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen this week, and it truly is just a streamer, like I don't have his ownership percentage ahead of me, but I know he's owned in far too few of leagues. Like he should be owned. He should be played. He's better than, like, at least just consistency wise. Like I'd for sure rather have him than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and
rather have him than Justin Fields, people like that.
Right. The thing is too, if you're using that 15 points as a barometer, like, oh, can he get that? I mean, Marcus Mariota, we all know that he can run, use his legs. If he scores a rushing touchdown, all you need is 9 more points to hit that 15 mark, And I think that's pretty easy to come by.
Yeah, and his schedule doesn't seem. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong person. I was looking at Matt Ryan. Weird. I don't think his schedule's bad though. No, it's not. So he's got Bengals. So this is considered the bad matchup. He has Carolina 2 of the next 3 weeks. So like he's the next nice quarterback to have. And weeks 11, 12, 13 is Chicago, Washington, Pittsburgh. Like he's a guy, maybe like if you're still trying to overcome Russell Wilson and stuff like that, maybe this is the guy you pick up to ride down the stretch here. I don't see him falling off the planet. And once Cordell Patterson comes back, that only helps him too. So I like Mariota a lot. And he's younger than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's 28. That's weird. Any other quarterbacks you want to talk about? Okay. Running backs, half PPR scoring. This should be a little bit more interesting than quarterbacks. Number 1, I do still have Saquon Barkley at 1 at the Jaguars. I have Austin Eckler 2 versus the Seahawks, Christian McCaffrey 3 versus the Buccaneers, Derrick Henry 4 versus the Colts, and then Alvin Kamara 5 at the Cardinals on Thursday night. Luke, what do you think about those 5 running backs?
1 second here. I'm just pulling it up. You didn't mention Jonathan Taylor, huh?
No, even if he's healthy, he's not going to be top 5 for me.
Because?
Plays the Titans, has a bad offensive line.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, these rankings are fine to me. Like Saquon Barkley, I don't know. Like it's, I'm sure when you were ranking him, it felt weird to rank Saquon Barkley 1 after the last couple of years. But I mean, I like the matchup against Jacksonville. I love Austin Eckler's matchup against Seattle. He might be very involved in the passing game here. And then Derrick Henry against Indianapolis. We know that Derrick Henry likes to do his best work against division opponents.
And off of a bye.
Yeah.
Trevor, what do you think?
Yeah, Austin Eckler is a really interesting option because he was just so bad the first 4 weeks fantasy-wise. And since then, I think he's been the RB1 by not even a close margin. Really, with him, it's just about will he find the end zone because he gets so much usage in the passing game that PPR is going to rack up the points. And he's starting to break some. He's starting to find that end zone. And when he does that, he's scary as long as he's healthy. And against the Seattle defense, that really cannot stop anything but Cliff Kingsbury. he should probably be finding the end zone at least once, if not twice. And if he finds it once, he's a top 10. Twice, he's probably the number one guy.
I agree. Ramondre Stevenson obviously didn't have to share the backfield last week, and he was very good. He was the RB2 in half PPR. I have him at number 9 this week. I think Harris still misses. He plays the Bears on Monday Night Football, so I like that. Josh Jacobs, I really, really like this week. He plays the Texans coming off of a bye. I have him at RB11. Kenneth Walker in that same game with the Chargers before. We talked about Seahawks Chargers. Chargers also cannot stop the run, so I like Kenneth Walker there.
Yep.
What are your guys' thoughts on Aaron Jones? I have him at RB14. And we're all Packer fans. So we all know it's truly just about like, is he gonna touch the ball? What do you guys think they do this week?
It would make sense for him to touch the ball, right? Like the Packers need a win. They have a very easy game, coming up. I would imagine to try to is Chase Young back, by the way?
No.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
I would imagine that running the ball would be a main point of contention because we know Washington likes to get after the passer. Maybe I would imagine if it gets to like these ugly games that Rodgers keeps getting sacked, teams are blitzing against him all over the place. I don't know where slip screens are coming into play here, but it feels like Aaron Jones may be involved in a slip screen. I don't know. Like they're just not giving the ball to Aaron Jones. I don't love Aaron Jones in this spot, but if there was a game, like this should be it, right?
Yeah, it should have been it the last 2 weeks too, though.
Mhm.
So
That's what I was going to mention. Like, I don't, and I gotta talk. We've talked about this on Lombardi Soup all the time. Matt LaFleur keeps saying he wants to get Aaron Jones more involved, and he just doesn't. And at a certain point, we just have to realize that, guess what? Matt LaFleur's words don't matter. So at this point, I think if you can still trade him, and you have Packer fans in your league that you can convince, hey, LaFleur says he's going to get him involved, do it. Because I don't trust him. I don't think you can trust him at all any week. And that's really scary, seeing that a lot of people probably drafted him end of the first, early second round.
yeah, I completely agree with both of you. The only thing I would do devil's advocate for is like he's scored touchdowns only in the Bears games. He scored those 2 touchdowns. So I suppose if you add a touchdown to like, any of the weeks, like I feel like you don't feel as scared about him.
Yeah,
But
I would agree, Zach.
yeah,
And my devil's advocate to that is how many times have been in the red zone this year?
right.
Yeah.
And my devil's advocate to that would be that there's only one way to go, and that's up. So
Well,
you're right. You're right. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to be less douchey, Andy Herman. I'm trying to be nice and optimistic here. But yeah, I don't trust him. I think the Packers should trade away AJ Dillon. He's one of the 5 Packers I wrote down where I might write a 5 players the Packers need to trade away article. It's going to get such bad pushback, but he's one of them. And some of the other ones are players you all like. So, whoops. Trade away Eric Stokes tomorrow, by the way. Get rid of him. Cut your losses.
Yeah, Eric Stokes, man, to get burned, to see the receiver slowing down and to still not turn around was maybe the saddest, funny thing I saw in that entire game, outside of Quay Walker being juked out of his sneakers.
That too. Other running backs, like I said, I have Jonathan Taylor at 7 right now. And even if he is cleared to play and is healthy, I think I'm going to keep him there, which is right behind Alvin Kamara and Leonard Fournette.
Shout out to all the Deion Jackson owners last week. Paid off.
Yeah. Where did he come from? I mean, it seemed like he would be the guy. I just didn't trust a single thing, and they were somehow good. So congrats. Rushing attack that wasn't good was the Broncos. They benched Melvin Gordon. The Broncos suck.
Yeah, I mean,
Nathaniel Hackett sucks, dude. He's such a bad head coach. Who could have predicted that, though?
If we're benching Melvin Gordon, then I don't think you want anyone in this Broncos backfield.
No, like you're benching him for Latavius Murray,
Mm-hmm.
who's not a good football player. I understand he scores touchdowns, but he is not a good football player. Yeah. Currently, I have to move these guys down. But for right now, I have Melvin Gordon 35 and Latavius Murray 36 and Mike Boone 41. Mike Boone also not good at football, but
No,
he's in there.
there's a lot of
trade
players
eight
on that team that
there.
aren't very good. On that Broncos team.
Russell Wilson's one of them.
Correct. Patrick Surtain is not one of them.
Also, he's very good at football.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is good.
It's awesome. No.
Their offense sucks. We'll trade you AJ Dillon for Quinn Miners. We need him.
Mm-hmm.
He would
Bring
be
him home.
Bring him home. Perfect Packer. Could you imagine walking in and it's not Royce Newman? It's Quinn Miners in his half shirt. It would be perfect.
Yeah.
I would cry.
Christmas come early.
Legit. I am 6 spots higher on Jonathan Taylor, who I have at 7. I that's not going to be the same once he gets cleared, I would assume. I'm 4 spots higher on Antonio Gibson at 33, 9 spots higher on J.K. Dobbins at 34. That's a big question. I'm 4 spots lower on Nick Chubb at 8, Kenyon Drake at 39, and Sony Michel at 52. Do you guys have any faith in Kenyon Drake to repeat any kind of performance?
If anybody believes in Kenyon Drake, they should add him to your leagues because they know nothing about fantasy football. I hate him so much.
I do too. But why did he run for 119 and 2 touchdowns? It doesn't make sense. Why
Dobbins'
is he in
knee
the NFL?
stiffened up.
I guess. And this
Also,
week, I think Gus Edwards might get cleared to play now. So
it is absolutely incredible that they give Drake with Dobbins down more run than Dobbins when he's healthy.
It's wild.
Doing stuff. Like that Bills game, they just fed Dobbins the first quarter and then did not look his way ever again.
Nope. But I honestly think Gus Edwards could be a sneaky pickup in your league. Just so you know, for people listening. He's actually good. Any other running back you guys want to talk about? I have Eno Benjamin at 25 with James Conner likely out on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
He's a flex play. I think he's fine.
Yeah. How comfortable are you with Breece Hall this week?
Fairly. I think the Broncos have a good run defense, but I think the Jets are doing good things. I think Breece Hall he's better than I expected him to be. I think in the NFL. He's very good. So I think he's a low-end RB1. I'd prefer to have him as my RB2.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago I traded Saquon for him and Swift, and I could not be more happy. Breece Hall was, although the Packers did help him a lot.
Then let me ask you guys this before we hop into this trade. Brian Robinson, would you guys be comfortable starting him as a flex this week?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too.
I don't think he's a high yardage guy almost ever, but I think he gets a touchdown.
Yeah.
Does he kind of feel like a Damian Harris light to you guys?
I think that's fair in terms of role. Yeah. I just think their offensive line is not very good, so it doesn't help them. But Jared asks about a trade. True. Very true. Why put people on the edge when you can't set it anyway? That's fine. But Jared traded Kyle Pitts, Ramondre Stevenson, and Gabe Davis for Mark Andrews. He already has Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Saquon Barkley, and Damian Pierce, and Lamar at quarterback.
I love this trade, but they need to know that someone else's team is going to be good now. You just gave them 3 starters here in Pitts, Stevenson, and Gabe Davis.
Right. I'm happy you traded away Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Because, eventually Ramondre Stevenson's role is going to come down drastically. Gabe Davis is literally the definition of boom or bust. I mean, you get a stud, a Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
I just hope for your sake, Mark Andrews doesn't, pop a hammy this week.
Yeah, no kidding. Or has a diabetic meltdown.
Yeah, I like that trade. It's the rich getting richer. He's just filled out his team with he's more comfortable tight end now.
Also,
Mhm.
let us know how many teams are in your league. I'm curious. So if you have Justin Jefferson, Higgins, Barkley, and Pierce, I mean that's impressive.
It makes
And
sense, right?
It makes sense, but once you get past your bye week with the Ravens, obviously you have both Lamar and Andrews, which could be a little bit tough. I think I would pick up Isaiah Likely and put him on your bench because if
Mhm.
Mark Andrews does somehow go down, I do really like Isaiah Likely as a tight end 1. So
Yes.
you can use that with your extra bench spot.
I mean, he's getting targets as a backup tight end to Mark Andrews as a target hog.
Yeah, he's electric when he has the ball, for sure. Wide receivers, I have Tyreek Hill at number 1 versus the Steelers. I'm a little panicking because he's never done well against the Steelers.
No.
But it's a completely different. Everything's different. Everything's new. Everything's weird. So he might come down, but he's number 1 right now. I have Devontae Adams 2 versus the Texans. Debo 3 versus the Chiefs. CeeDee Lamb 4 versus the Lions. And Mike Evans 5 at the Panthers. I will already tell you the big difference between my rankings and everybody else's. Everyone has Jamar Chase as the consensus number 1, and I have him at 6. But Trevor, what do you think of those top 6 then wide receivers?
I'm actually really glad Jamar Chase at 6 because I don't think Zach Taylor's able to scheme him open. And I mean his big touchdown reception this past week was on a screen with like 2 missed tackles, like horrible missed tackles. He is wide receiver 6 on the season, and he's got the targets, but the receptions aren't there. The yardage, he's only been over 80 yards 3 out of 6 weeks. He's only caught a touchdown 3 out of 6 weeks. Like, to be a consensus number 1, you have to have a really, really high floor. I just really don't see that with him. He's a great player, but he should definitely be outside the top 5 this week.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think an interesting one to talk about is Deebo Samuel, right? It really hasn't felt like he was Deebo Samuel from last year. Even still, he's like 10th in I think half point PPR, but he's just not getting the rushing numbers right now. Do you think that the rushing numbers come or anything like that, or is this a game that can start that, or do you just kind of have him ranked high because guys like Cooper Kupp are on a bye, yada yada?
Combination of the
Both.
two.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's coming off a bad loss. They lost to the Falcons.
Yep.
And then a high intensity, high profile game like the Chiefs. Like their stadium is going to be rocking with Chiefs fans. It's going to be electric. And it just feels like this is the type of game where, like, if you bounce back and win this game, obviously the Chiefs are coming off a loss as well. But I feel like this is the energizing, creative 49ers game. And this has potential to be an unbelievable offensive game by both sides. So, if there's a game to start running Debo in the backfield more and to get some sort of juice going on offense, I would assume it's this game. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's fair.
But to your point, like he has been a top 20 wide receiver one time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like something needs to change at some point. DeAndre Hopkins comes back tomorrow against the Saints. Saints do not have Marshawn Lattimore. I currently have DeAndre Hopkins at 14. Potential for higher. I would assume, like in my mind, Cardinals obviously have been terrible. They obviously lose Marquise Brown, so there's even more change up. I feel like DeAndre Hopkins is going to get peppered with targets, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It has to be like, and there's going to be so many annoying Cardinals fans after they win this game on Thursday night, just being like, oh, you said we were down. You said Kyler Murray sucked at football. And they're all going to come out, I think.
I disagree heartily. Isn't it like the early release of Call of Duty and it's a Thursday night game? Like there's no way. Or maybe it's double XP week. Something like that. But either way, Call of Duty plus Thursday night football, I don't buy Kyler Murray. I can't do it.
No. After he wins this game, then he has a long weekend to do nothing but Call of Duty. So he sacrificed it. Is it
October
this weekend?
28th. October 28th is
Oh,
the release
Oh.
date.
There's something out at least. Maybe it's just early access or something. I know he
yeah, that
has
could
it.
be.
I know he
Yeah.
has it.
He's probably streaming it right now. Let me go look.
Also,
Probably.
your thought of he can use a long weekend to play Call of Duty, that's what a competent, sane person would do. That is not Kyler Murray. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is on the sticks already.
JJ Watt would eat him if he was playing Call of Duty on a
He'd
short
like
week.
tear a pack trying to eat him, so I'm not worried about that.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury would probably give him half of his paycheck if he plays well in this game, because if they win and they look really, really good, Kingsbury's not going to get fired at least until the end of the season. So
Mhm.
that'd be good for him. Olave is cleared to play tomorrow night. Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry are both out. So I have Olave at 19 currently. We don't know who his quarterback is. We don't even know if Jameis Winston's going to start if he's healthy. I hate these situations so much. So I don't like Olave is a wide receiver 2 with upside, I think is
Yeah.
what I would call him.
I think so. I think you just like if you're questioning like Zach, you were saying you don't even know who's going to play quarterback with them. I mean, Olave is a good player. That's a guy you just stick in the lineup, don't even think about, and just see what happens, and take what you
Mhm.
get after Thursday.
Yeah. Another rookie I like is Alec Pierce. Obviously, we talked him up a bunch in the offseason. He's been wide receiver 30, 19, and 23 over the past 3 weeks. He has gotten 22 targets over that time. He's been really, really good. And I have him at wide receiver 27. Like, I think he's officially a wide receiver 3. I think that you can trust, especially when Michael Pittman is healthy to take the top coverage away. Like, if there's a situation where Alec Pierce becomes the wide receiver 1 again, like, I don't like him then.
Yeah.
But if he's not the focus of the defense, I think he could really thrive on the Colts, actually.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Okay, so just comparing these wide receivers to the consensus, I guess. I am 6 spots higher on DeAndre Hopkins at 14. I ranked Keenan Allen as if he plays. I think he will play this week. I have him at 16, which is higher. Alec Pierce, I'm 8 spots higher on him at 27. I don't want to say it, but Olamide Zacchaeus, I'm at 49. He's been getting targets. Like, it just shows, like, I love how uninvolved Kyle Pitts is. It makes me so happy. And also they did the same thing with Drake London now. Like, they're both just 2 massive decoys out there. It's so funny.
I love the Falcons for that. Like, I remember Henry and I think Luke were hyping up Zacchaeus. They got 2 primetime targets since we've done that, and he is just as involved when they had Matt Ryan and nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they like panicked as soon as they lost the game. They're like, what are we not doing? It's like, oh yeah, getting Zacchaeus involved. So now he's getting catches. 4 targets each of the past 2 weeks.
Do you think that
Yeah.
Arthur Smith is our head coach? Do you think that he goes to press conferences like what Florida does and say, yeah, we need to get Zacchaeus more involved? And then he actually does it?
I think it's an unspoken thing. Everybody knows it in Atlanta. Robbie Anderson, I ranked 53 on Arizona Thursday. That's 9 spots higher. I ranked Terrace Marshall. I'm super stoked to do that. I have him at 70, and he's 4 spots higher than the consensus. That's someone the Packers should trade for. I'm down to get Terrace Marshall. Free him. That's another article I might write.
I don't know. Looking at the
Not
Packers offense, I don't think we free anybody. So
True. But like, yeah. I'm down to trade for Kenny Golladay too, by the way. That's another one on my list. And that would make Packer fans so pissed off. But I think he'd be good on our team. At least for a week. Lower, like I said, I'm lower on Jamar Chase, 5 spots lower at 6. Consensus has him at number 1. I'm 9 spots lower on Jalen Waddle at 17. He just hasn't been good. 7 lower on Christian Kirk at 24. He's also really fallen off. We talked about Drake London. I have him at 33, which is 8 spots lower. Romeo Dobbs at 36. That's 7 spots lower. Chase Claypool at 46. That's 6 spots lower. Everyone's ranking these young guys super high. I don't get it. That's about the only relevant one. Tyquan Thornton I have at 61. I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit, but
Tyquan Thornton's here.
No, he is not.
He's fast.
He's here.
Super fast. Sure.
Welcome to the Tyquan Thornton Show, everyone. Buckle up.
He's like the new version of when Marquise Goodwin had 2 games that he thought he was going to be fantastic, and then he's on.
True.
I don't even know what team he's on right now.
I think actually Marquise Goodwin is on Seattle. I think
Seattle. Or Chicago?
I thought he was on the Bears.
I think he's on
no,
Seattle.
He was at one point.
I just used Seattle and Madden, and they had Goodwin.
Why?
I did randoms.
Gotta play as Geno.
I would have reshuffled.
He is on Seattle. You're right.
Seattle's a good team to use in Madden. Like if you can get time with Geno, just hit DK or Lockett on fly routes. It's open every time. But
I love it. I like it.
Who are we talking about before Marquise Goodwin?
Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah, I think I'm just chasing that John Ross. That I really wanted John Ross to be good in the NFL, and he just wasn't.
Nah, I think he's still out there. He was on the Giants for a second, did nothing.
Packers should get him.
Sure. Why not? I think Tyquan Thornton's interesting when Bailey Zappi's in there. I think as soon as Mac Jones comes back, I want nothing to do with him for now.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Check to see if he's out there in like dynasty leagues though, because I picked him up in a dynasty league the other day, which it was fine. I dropped Cedric Wilson, so I was fine to do so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a downgrade. Any other wide receivers you guys want to talk about?
What I mean, how confident are you guys starting Mike Williams? Because we're seeing his, boom and bust thing going on again.
There's very few wide receivers I hate more for fantasy than Mike Williams.
Yeah.
This should be a great week. That's about all I can say. I think he's good this week.
I think so too. It really feels like if Keenan Allen plays, though, Keenan Allen would be great this week.
So good. Yeah, like right now I have Williams 13, Keenan Allen 16. If Keenan Allen's cleared to play, I'll probably just flip the two. They both should be good though. I don't know.
The thing is, and I think a lot of people overlook this kind of coming into fantasy football. Everyone's all excited about the Chargers this year. Oh, they have all these new weapons that they can use, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to go undefeated, whatever. It seems to me that the Chargers don't get a lot of guys who score a lot of points together. Usually one player goes off a week. It seems like the last couple of weeks, Ross and Eckler. Wonder if they get Keenan and Allen involved. It just feels like there's too many mouths to feed in this offense, and which is not a bad thing as a football team, but as a fantasy football owner, it sucks.
There's a combination of too many mouths to feed and also zero depth on their offense,
and that they try to keep making Josh Kelly a thing.
I know. I'm so angry about it because I was on Spiller this year and I was on Josh Kelly before. I think they're both good football players, but it's like the Cam Akers situation again. Our timing's off. Something. By the way, buy low on Cam Akers. I'm back on him. I'm on board again.
Yeah, I'm back.
Someone's gonna get him.
Yep, that rejuvenated my belief in Cam Akers. The Rams are gonna get rid of him. Send him to Buffalo.
No, please
no,
don't.
Absolutely not.
That's where he's going, isn't it?
I feel like the Browns would pull some shit like trade Hunt for Akers and a pick. That would be really funny.
No, I think the Browns would trade Hunt and a pick for Akers because they're so fucking stupid.
True. The Chiefs just cleared up $3 million or so. He might go there.
Don't even say that.
They might get him and Odell with that $3 million. They'll figure it out. I love it.
No,
good for them.
Clyde, come back. Andy Reid, give Clyde the ball. Get Jerick McKinnon off this fucking team.
I disagree. I am all for Team Jerick McKinnon.
I hate Jerick McKinnon.
Same here. I don't know why they hate Clyde.
I
He's
don't
good every
get
time
it.
he touches it.
Right.
Probably because his name is stupid. Clyde, come on. First of all, so Jerick McKinnon is like the running back version of Teddy Bridgewater, if you think about it. Fan favorite, came from Minnesota.
Hate him.
Injuries, kind of good. Shouldn't be playing, but is.
Should not get red zone carries. You should add that one in there too.
Yeah. He's so frustrating. Makes
I don't
no
get,
sense.
man. Like the only way Clyde's going to score is if Patrick Mahomes throws him touchdowns, and that's not going to happen because fucking Travis Kelce is just a monster within 5 yards.
And then they have, who is their like fifth string wide receiver that they throw to all the time? To like, not all the time, but too
Watson?
often too. I think so.
I feel like
Sky
Justin
Moore,
Watson a lot.
Sky Moore is getting rushes, and Clyde is not.
Yeah, Justin
is.
Watson. Also, Noah
Justin Watson's
Gray is
fast.
getting. Noah Gray is getting stuff. He's like
Yes.
their backup tight end.
Yeah. Playmaker.
He's tight end 40. That is way too high for a tight end that has Travis Kelce above him.
Chiefs are so fun. That's like
Tyreek-
what your
I-
offense should be.
Yeah.
Everyone
I-
out there.
I said that I really miss Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs guys. That was like a hack in fantasy football. I was watching. I forget it was a long one he had on the Dolphins. I'm like, no, just the one where Mahomes rolls out to the right, throws it all the way across his body. That 80-yard bomb. That one just hits different than any other 80-yard bomb in NFL.
So frustrating.
Especially for like people his first year or one of his early years, like before he really popped off, when you could get him in the third round.
Yes.
But he's like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's drafted there, so I'll take him. And then that Rams Chiefs game was just, for a guy who had Hunt and Hill, that was the best moment of my life. I've been chasing that high for years.
Well,
Incredible
maybe you'll
Jared
get
Goff
it on the
game.
next Broncos game. What was that?
Incredible Jared Goff game that was.
It was.
Didn't the Rams win that game?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
There was like 2 defensive touchdowns too, I think.
That's what every game should be like. NFL, take notes. Make your games like that.
And then what did we get in the Super Bowl? Just an absolute snooze fest because Tom Brady had to be a dick.
I'm so happy the Buccaneers are bad, by the way. Sorry.
Don't fall into that trap.
No, I'm done.
I'm sorry. If you lose to the Steelers, I gotta fall into that trap. Tom Brady.
It's Mike Tomlin and Mitchell Trubisky.
No.
You know, the unstoppable duo. Just don't fall into this trap because they're going to the Super Bowl. We know
Falcons are winning that division.
Don't say that, Zach.
Maybe, but like they're gonna get beat right away in the playoffs. Let's talk about tight ends. I have Mark Andrews number 1 at the Browns. I have Travis Kelce 2 at the 49ers. George Kittle 3 versus the Chiefs. Zach Ertz on Thursday versus the Saints. And I have David Njoku at 5 at the Ravens. Luke, what do you think of those 5 tight ends?
I would guess if DeAndre Hopkins doesn't get the targets like Zach Ertz is like the default of getting the targets. So I love Zach Ertz. Andrews, yeah. Kittle's another crazy one. Like George Kittle should be so much better than he is, but I think you still need to be patient with George Kittle. Like he's always on the field. He has to be in this offense for this team to work. One way or another, they'll figure something out with George Kittle, and we'll get back to what we know from George Kittle.
Yeah, he finally did something last week. He got 10 targets and finished as tight end 6 in half PPR. So hopefully that's him heating up. I don't know.
I'm super happy with David Njoku. I think this is the first year ever that I've put a lot of stock into a crap tight end, and it's worked out for me. They're finally giving him the ball, especially the last 4 weeks, 10, 7, 6, 6 targets. Tight ends suck. They're almost impossible to predict unless you have a guy in the top 4. He's the one guy that's not like one of those big name threats that is as consistent and reliable as it gets. Only has 1 touchdown on the year, but that's not what you're chasing when you need a tight end. You just need not 0 and preferably higher than 5. And when he's getting 6 targets a game at least, I mean, he's going to get you that.
Yeah, in the red zone, I mean, it's either Nick Chubb or him at the moment. So I like that as well. I think he takes a nosedive as soon as what's the guy's name? Deshaun Watson. As soon as he comes back, I'm gonna guess he's not very good, but for now that's fine. I have Robert Tonyan at 7. Don't feel good about it, but whatever. I
Here's
have Kyle Pitts at 8.
here's my take on Rob Tonyan, and I'll probably repeat this same thing on Lombardi Sweep, so everyone tune in after for that. But with Randall Cobb being out, like Randall Cobb wasn't a big part of this offense, right? But it kind of felt like he was that safety blanket that Rodgers kind of hit on maybe like a 2nd and long or a 3rd and short or something to get some yards. Now that Randall Cobb's out, I mean, is there really a safety blanket? Like it almost feels like Rob Tonyan should default to that safety blanket. I know that's not worth much, but I think it's worth at least a look in this Packers offense.
That's what happened last week. His
Yeah.
role essentially in the offense is to chip and then do something underneath. Like a couple years ago when he was super good, he was that vertical threat being left wide open. He's just not that in this offense. So to your point, like I think the targets are real at the
Yeah.
moment, and then now they're playing Washington. If they decide not to run the ball like a smart team and they decide they want to pass it a bunch, then I think Tanya's going to get peppered with targets underneath because there's no chance Green Bay can block Washington's front.
Yeah, especially if Sammy Watkins, whatever he is, if he can at least get down the field a little bit and bring some safeties back.
I agree.
Mhm.
I hope he could play because yeah.
You know how bad the Packers, that you're saying. I hope Sammy Watkins can play.
I think I'm not sure if I said it on Lombardi Sweep or this show a few weeks ago or wherever I said it. I think the Packers have a lot of stock put into Sammy Watkins. I think he is a really big role in this offense, actually.
He is.
For whatever it's worth.
Also, why are
good or bad?
I guess we'll save it for Lombardi Sweep, but why are we playing out of the shotgun so much? There's a formation
What do you
called
mean?
single back.
No. Did you watch the offensive line block?
Yeah, but don't you need single back to at least try to get play action to work? Because isn't shotgun a lot easier to do to read the play action? As a defender, at least, like the safeties?
Not if you run it in shotgun.
No, fair enough. Well, we don't do
but
that.
But the Packers didn't do that either.
Effectively.
Well, just if they run it in shotgun, then play action in shotgun will work. Don't just run it under center and then move back and then not run it. Like you gotta, if you give the defense a threat, they're gonna bite. It's Aaron Rodgers.
I have the solution. Stop making AJ Dillon try to be Marshawn Lynch.
AJ, I don't like him as a person anyway, so I'm fine to say it. AJ Dillon's not good at football. He's not.
You
he's
can't
not
say you don't like him as a person. What has he done?
I don't like his personality. I'm sure he's a good person. I don't like his personality. Is that fine?
That's fair. That's fair.
Also, maybe a bad person. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to say good or bad.
Who was the last bad person to come out of Boston College?
Matt Ryan.
I made that too easy.
Nick on Twitch asks, should I trade Stephon Diggs for Chris Godwin and Dameon Pierce?
Oh, yeah, 16-man, yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Trevor, you agree or no?
Yes, I'm searching up notable bad people from Boston College, but yes.
How many pages of Matt Ryan popped up? Other tight ends, though. Daniel Bellinger, the rookie for the Giants, is interesting just to watch him a little bit. I'm at 14 this week. If his role continues to grow, like he's getting used in the red zone, he's essentially the Dawson Knox in Brian Daboll's offense now on the Giants. Speaking of Dawson Knox, I'm happy not to have to rank him this week. So now that he's on a bye. Greg Dulcich made his debut rookie for the Broncos last week. Looked okay.
Scored a touchdown.
Yeah, he looked okay. He didn't do anything great or bad, but he's good enough to make El Berto completely inactive. So And I don't see somebody trading for Alberto. So I think he's droppable.
Yeah, I would agree.
Another rookie I like is Cade Otton for the Buccaneers quite a bit. Cameron Brate should be out now. Cade Otton, I have him at tight end 20. I could see him moving up for me, and I think he has a lot of upside because Kyle Rudolph can't get on the field. Cameron Brate now out. Julio Jones is still struggling to practice. So, like, if there's going to be a big body in the middle of the field, it's going to be Cade Otton, and Tom Brady's going to throw it to him. So I think he has a lot of upside.
Yep.
I think you need to respect Donald Parham with the Chargers a little bit, and he's the reason why Everett's not amazing anymore. I'm not sure why people aren't catching that, but
Yeah, I would say that if you're a Gerald Everett owner, you're probably very happy the first couple of weeks that you've probably picked up your starting tight end, but I think now might be a time to find a replacement plan.
See if you can still sell him for something.
Yeah, especially with Keenan Allen coming back too.
For sure. Monique has Josh Allen on bye. Would we rather start David Carr versus Houston, Daniel Jones versus Jacksonville, or Mariota versus the Bengals? Well, my rankings say, I'm guessing Carr. Yeah, I have Derek Carr at quarterback 10. So I'd go him.
Yeah. I think I also like it because I think Derek Carr has the best chance to win their game. Right?
I'm not doubting the Falcons ever again.
That's fair.
They might have already had their last loss of the season. So, which is kind of cool.
I'm going to go
Congratulations, Falcons fans.
I'm assuming this is a big assumption seeing you only gave us one position. I'm assuming you need a lot of points. If you're out Josh Allen, you probably have other buys as well. I'm going to go Marcus Mariota because as good as Carr has been at having a solid floor, he hasn't shown even one game at 20 points, and Marcus Mariota has. And if he runs in 2 touchdowns, which is very possible, he's probably going to get a 20-point game. So if you're chasing points, I'd go Mariota.
Mariota might score 5 touchdowns. McClurry Wolf, drop one between Everett Schultz, Taysom Hill, and Pat Freiermuth.
Why do you have 4 tight ends?
Great question. I think I would drop Taysom Hill.
Yep. I would never. You never know when to start him. He's going to have 5 touchdowns once every 5 weeks, but you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. I think you're never going to go into a week that you're like confident that Taysom Hill is going to be better than Gerald Everett, Dalton Schultz, or Pat Freiermuth.
Exactly. And if you're never going to start him, no point to have him.
Yep.
John asks, what is the value of both Green Bay backs in a trade? Any examples? 10-man, half PPR.
I think right now is the value for the Packers, right? Maybe after the Washington game, like because Packers have a very tough schedule coming up. I think hold out. Like if you have a Green Bay back, hold out for this Washington game. Start them, see what happens, and then take that and then trade them at that point. This might be a better question for next week. But I think right now, like, there's not a high. I don't think there's a high market for Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon. I think the best you're going to do is that they're playing in an Aaron Rodgers offense for an argument.
I think you can still sell Aaron Jones as a low-end running back 1, though. So if you're talking about specific examples, like I think there's a chance you can get Amon-Ra St. Brown for him. I think you could get maybe a Mike Evans or a CeeDee Lamb, depending on how, or even a Debo, like somebody like that. I think you can get those type of players. AJ Dillon, I think, is a flex, possibly a mid-range flex guy. And if you don't have one of these guys, or if you do only have one of them, like trading that player to the other owner of the Green Bay back is the best way to get some value out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe AJ Dillon for like a Rondale Moore, maybe an Alec Pierce, Christian Kirk. I think that's where Dillon is for me.
Yep.
Is DJ Moore worth trading for? I think so. What do you guys think?
I think yes, I think you can, but I don't know if I want the headache of because there are going to be bad weeks with DJ Moore just for him solely being on the Panthers. I mean, I don't necessarily know that DJ Moore is a starting receiver on a fantasy football championship winning team. Is my whole my argument here.
Whoops, I didn't mean to switch that. Boom. Trevor, you were shaking your head no.
I don't think he is, but that's because I've had to deal with them this whole year, and so I'm definitely biased. I mean, he's a guy. I guess I would say it depends on league size and roster size. In a 10-man league, I don't really think so because I think he's going to be dropped soon, anyways. But in the bigger leagues, I think he's definitely worth at least a stash.
Well, he's for sure a buy low candidate with everything changing there. Like, he's been really, really bad. He hasn't converted any fantasy points. He hasn't finished in the top. He's finished top 28 one time. And like, that's a very low bar. So I like him. I would only trade for him if the current owner is not starting him because, I mean, they shouldn't be starting him, but that just means they've given up on him, and rightfully so. But that also means you can buy him very low, offer not very much. Again, a matchup against Tampa Bay looks daunting this week. Then he gets Atlanta, Cincinnati, Atlanta, Baltimore, has Denver a bye week. Then to end the season in the fantasy championship, you know, if he does get hot, this is a great schedule. Seattle, Steelers, Lions. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, like, he's worth a shot. Ray, should I drop Pickens? Ooh, wrong crowd.
Nope.
For Waddale or Alec Pierce. I think, biased aside, I would probably do it for Alec Pierce.
Yeah, I think I agree.
But I wouldn't do it.
No.
Because I would.
George Pickens. I'd be afraid to go around every corner if like George Pickens is going to push me.
I don't need to be on. I don't need to do anything that disrespects George Pickens.
Save.
He's in Pittsburgh, guys. We're okay. It's an 8-hour drive.
That's what you think.
Do you know that? Where is he? He's always hiding.
Definitely on the East Coast because they ain't changing time zones.
George Cook, happy PPR. Starting Saquon for sure. Pick between Swift, Walker, Dameon Pierce. Should I trade Swift and Ertz for Dylan and Kelsey? Well, I don't mind that trade just because you have so many good running backs, I suppose. I would start Swift and Walker as long as Swift is healthy and good to go.
I second that.
Yes. Houston has the Giants or the Raiders this week?
Yeah.
Think so.
Yep.
I wouldn't
Josh Jacobs this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad starting all three of them if you can use one of them as a flex.
Should he start Dak or Kyler? I think Kyler. Monique also has Kupp and Devontae on bye. Hardly anyone left. Starting Renfro or Boyd more. That is tough. I would start Renfro, I think.
Yeah.
I'm starting Boyd just because he's a guy that every 3 weeks he goes off. He's unpredictable and he's impossible to predict. But if you're out Allen, Kupp, and Devontae, I mean, the only chance you have at winning is banking on a big performance. So unless you have like a league median that you could possibly hit, I'd go Boyd.
Yeah, I don't love DJ Moore either against Tampa.
No,
and I went with Renfro just because I thought he did have the highest ceiling, especially coming off of a bye against a bad team. And he's been so terrible. Like, maybe they get him involved. And it sounds like Darren Waller's not going to play. So that's where my thoughts were. Okay, so we can do this really quick. We don't need to spend too much time on this, but grade this team essentially and see if there's anyone you would trade for or away. 12-man, 0.75 PPR. Dak Prescott a quarterback, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. You have a good team.
How is this team 1-5?
Yeah, you're 1-5, 12-man. So, I mean, what I would do, obviously, you have Dak back. That's good. You have Schultz at tight end. You need to improve tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I would trade away London, maybe if his value is still high. And Schultz and Otten, whatever, for a healthy and good tight end. That's where I would look to improve. Otherwise, your team's obviously very good. Shane, you're hoping to get Darnold for who? Oh,
No. He's referencing DJ Moore, like trading for him.
No. Never hope for Darnold coming back for anything positive.
No. Yes, correct.
You're hoping for the Panthers to trade for Jordan Love or to trade for somebody. That's the hope.
You want anyone else other than Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I'd rather Baker Mayfield.
Nate Peterman, I'd rather have.
100%.
I'm not going that far.
Nick Foles just got demoted to quarterback 3 in Indy. Maybe he gets traded there. Who knows? Again,
if Nick Foles starts, that team's winning the Super Bowl, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Bingo. Monique is 2-4. What does she have to change? Carr, Chubb, Walker, Sutton, Evans, Goddard, Aaron Jones, Juju, Cooks, Devontae, Deshaun, Etienne, and Jameson Williams.
I've never seen Etienne spelled like or like his name like that, but I kind of like it.
I like it.
Makes sense. What's your guys' thoughts on Courtland Sutton?
I don't love it. I don't love Russell. I don't love Russell Wilson throwing the ball. Like Courtland Sutton should be so much better than he is these last 4 years. Courtland Sutton was everyone's pick for like surprise player of the year. No, of course not. Like Russell Wilson is just not that good of a quarterback, and that it negatively affects Courtland Sutton. If I'm a Courtland Sutton owner, I think I'm trying to trade him. Like talk up Russell Wilson. Talk up how big Courtland Sutton is. Do all that. I don't want Courtland Sutton. I don't want any Broncos on my team, I don't think.
I don't mind Courtland Sutton as a wide receiver too. I mean, he is wide receiver 18 on the season and half PPR, but I mean, Sutton and Evans is your 1 and 2. I mean, those are just 2 low-tier wide receiver 2s, and that sucks.
Evans isn't a wide receiver 2. We don't like him, but he's not a wide receiver 2. He's a wide receiver.
Statistically, though, like so far in fantasy output, because he's wide receiver 20 so far. At least in half PPR,
with 1 missed game, and I don't know. He's a wide receiver 1.
Are you still so you're happy with Evans and Sutton as your 1 and 2 though? You're happy with Evans as your 1. I'm not happy with Evans or Sutton as my 1 in any leagues.
I would still look to trade away Sutton. I have him in too many leagues. I think, never as a 1. I think he's more so a 2 or a 3 for me. But yeah, like I want to trade him away, and I also don't want to sell low. So it's a weird situation to be in. So I think for Mick Mo Diesel, I would try to sell him with, Brandon Cook. When are you ever going to start Brandon Cooks? And he's also a pretty good fantasy wide receiver. So I would probably package the 2 for 1 better wide receiver if that's possible.
Or maybe you think you could go like a Sutton and an Aaron Jones for a Cup or a JJ?
I think it would be tough, but maybe. Also, then start 1 flex and half PPR, ETN, Aaron Jones, Juju, or Cooks. I'm still going Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
We will be doing Lombardi sweep immediately after this. Spoiler alert. Packers need to run the ball this week.
I was going to say you're going to get guaranteed touches with Aaron Jones, but I can't say that anymore.
You cannot. Nope.
Which is crazy.
We will say he should have touched it more, though. Yeah, you're right. It is crazy.
How hurt was he? Because obviously at the game I saw him kind of like coming off a little bit, and they said he was banged up. But announcers say that anytime anybody does a sprint off the field, so it's hard to tell.
No, Aaron Jones is fine that game.
Yep. And A.J. Dillon was not fine in that game. Let's go to prize picks. Every single week we give our guaranteed picks of the week, courtesy of Prize Picks. If you're watching on YouTube, we have a link in the description to sign up for Prize Picks, which is a daily fantasy site with a bunch of player props. You can string them together in a parlay to win real money It is essentially the fun of betting on player props, but in a fantasy sports state. We're in Wisconsin. We can't bet online in sports, but we can play Prize Picks. When you sign up through our link, you get a 100% deposit match. You can deposit up to $100 to get another $100 for free. And you can play our picks and make a bunch of money. Trevor, did you want to go over last week's?
No.
I don't remember.
Yours, Zach, was Alan Lazard over 9.5 fantasy points. You pretty much got all that from his long touchdown. I said Wentz over 0.5 interceptions. We don't need to talk about that game. And Luke, you said Cup over 95.5 receiving yards, and then against Carolina, that just didn't happen.
Carolina's tough.
I said it once, I'll say it again. The Rams should not be allowed to have 3 white guys that are the target share leaders on the team.
It is questionable.
Rooney Rule.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. Do either of you want to go first for your pick, or do you want me to go?
I can go first.
Go for it.
CeeDee Lamb has had 10 plus targets in 4 of 6 games. They're playing the Lions, and his line for receiving yards is 67.5. I'm going over. It just makes sense against the Lions defense.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually going to go CeeDee Lamb too, but I was going to take the over 15.5 fantasy score. But now I'll pivot, so we get 2 different picks here. So give me a second.
Okay, I mean you can if you want.
Nope.
What I will do? Okay, fine. What I will do. There's quite a few I like, and again, I'll share them after the fact. But I think the one I'm going to go with is DeAndre Hopkins over 5 receptions. Like we said before, I think he's going to get peppered. And this is a parlay, so you need to get them all right to win. However, if you get this wrong, it's an even 5. So if he gets exactly 5, you can still cash out your parlay, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Will Lutz over a field goal and a half.
I like it. John, did you say you said your lineup before, didn't you? No. Okay, send your lineup. Well, Trevor makes, or we all set our picks. Never mind.
This is my new strategy: is going with kickers because taking the highest yardage, the highest yardage, and going over was not the right strategy. Which, in hindsight, makes sense. But so I'm just going to try out kickers this week, see what happens.
It was such a promising start until you dropped 4 straight. And I can't really talk either. It was a promising start to me too. But Zach, you're 4-2 though. And the last 2 weeks you've picked Packers to overproduce, and it's actually worked, which is odd.
It is odd. These are other picks I like if anyone wants to play them. Tomorrow night, Traquan Smith over 27.5 receiving yards. That almost feels like a lock with Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry out, so I like that. Alec Pierce over 45.5 receiving yards. Ezekiel Elliott over 65.5 rushing yards against the Lions, I like. And Josh Jacobs over 73.5 rushing yards against the Texans. Theoretically, that should be like one of his 100-plus yard games again.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like to trust the Raiders to make it my actual guarantee.
I think I like Jawan Johnson over 22.5 receiving yards as well.
Trotman just got ruled out today as well, so that helps him out.
Yep.
I do like that. John, get your lineup in before we get out of here. You got 1 minute. Luke, do you have anything random you want to ask us? I have something.
Okay.
Went to Quick Trip today, as I do, and this is the Quick Trip hot item of the week.
My favorite restaurant.
Same here. Favorite, just destination.
Okay, I'm sorry, Zach. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to say how awesome like convenience and gas stations are. I love them, just in general.
That's a great
everything you need.
Yeah.
What a strong take. Go on, Zach.
I didn't even mean for that to be
bold.
a take. I just wanted to put that out there. Like I love it.
Same, man. They got a new hot item though, and it's a jalapeno cheese corn dog.
Oh yeah, I'm scared.
It's very good.
Okay.
I did it, and I'm not dead.
Yeah. I'm
drinking a lot of water. Very thirsty. Too much soda.
Right.
But it was good. It was really good.
Do you like the fried mac and cheese bites with the bacon?
I didn't like it.
Yeah, they're different.
Mhm.
I got to get them
Yeah.
more.
You gotta
We got
get
mini
them more.
tacos here. We got mini tacos at this one too.
Really?
Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah,
Like hard shell?
yeah.
Hmm.
And soggy
I
though.
don't know if I'd like those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not great
Um,
crunch in them.
yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of a hard taco.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're grading John's team here. He's got Herbert, Eckler, Aaron Jones, Godwin, Deontay, Travis Kelce, AJ Dillon. Carlson is benches, Gabe Davis, Madison, Dobbs, Elijah Mitchell, Bateman, and Kyron Williams or Grayson. One of the two.
Grayson Allen.
Yeah, I
So
mean, there's a lot of Packers here.
I know how excited this guy was drafting this. He was like, "Oh, I got Aaron Jones, Justin Herbert, leading in
Yeah.
rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns." I know how excited this guy was, and I know how pissed off he is because that's not working right now.
Overall, I would say he still got a decent draft out of it though.
Oh, yeah, for
Because
sure.
I'm assuming he went Eck 1, Aaron Jones back end of 2, probably
Kelce.
getting Kelsey early 3rd. I mean, for as I don't want to say bad because running back 14, but for how Aaron Jones has played, I still think he's got a good chances here.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not happy with Deontay Johnson at all.
Mm-mm.
So, and I mean, Dylan's your flex. So, I mean, I'd probably start Gabriel Davis over him on a normal week, obviously, in the flex, I think.
I'll go 6.5 out of 10.
And we say this every week, but
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Trade Alexander Madison to the Dalvin Cook owner because you're never going to start Alexander Madison.
No, but I mean, you could do the same thing with the Elijah Mitchell if the Jeff Wilson owner is starting him, like relying on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, could there be? It's very realistic that Elijah Mitchell comes back and is in a timeshare and isn't very good. So that's also an option. Would we do James Conner and Judy for Kamara and DJ Moore? Yep.
Yeah, I would want to get rid of Connor and Judy.
Yep. Jerry Judy, bad football player. James
Mhm.
Conner, cancer survivor. Congrats. Bad football player. Alvin Kamara, good fighter and good football player. And DJ Moore is just there.
Mhm.
So that's what I would do. John picked up Kyron off the report. I'm guessing the report that the Rams really like him and might play him, which is very, very true.
Is it, just talking about the Rams, is there any chance, is Jake Funk going to be fantasy relevant?
Bring the funk. I need it. There's so many good headlines we could make, but no, he's not very good.
He can't be. He can't be.
Kyron Williams, though, if he actually gets up to speed and is healthy, he's one of those multi-purpose running backs who theoretically could be the spark the Rams offense needs and could be super good. He's an interesting stash in a deep league. I have him in a few dynasty leagues. If it's like a 12 team or something, I don't know if I'm stashing him, but interesting. Luke, John said he's not mad, so he went 5-1. So
Oh, good for him then.
take that. Do we throw Dillon in that trade? Trade away AJ Dillon. He's only useful if Aaron Jones gets hurt, and if Aaron Jones gets hurt, you're feeling some sort of way already anyway.
Even if Aaron Jones gets hurt, the offense then it's absolutely nothing.
True. Brock needs wide receiver help. PPR redraft running backs are Mixon, Saquon, Brees, Ramondre, Kenneth Walker. Very good. Wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins, Jacoby, DJ Moore, Mooney, Dobbs, Gallup. Would you trade Brees Hall and Gallup for AJ Brown and Olave?
I was going to say, I feel like Brees Hall can be used as a pawn here.
Would you rather, at their current values, trade away Brees Hall or Saquon Barkley?
I think
Saquon.
I'd rather trade away. I'd rather trade away Brees Hall.
I'd go Saquon just because he doesn't have as much involvement in the passing game. and his knees are made of glass.
Yeah, I'd lean Saquon. If you could sell Ramondre Stevenson high right now, though, obviously that could be fun.
Yeah. The only
But
reason I'm picking the Giants that I'm picking Saquon over Brees Hall. And it's crazy that I'm saying this, but I think I believe in the Giants.
I believe in Wink, man. Vote him
I
for
know.
president. Let him do whatever the fuck he wants at any point in time, wherever. I
Wink
love that
Martindale
man.
and Brian Dable they're both psychopaths. They know how to coach football. They know how to win games. They know how to make like the Giants look like a good football team.
It took them a lot of tries, but
Mhm.
like that's everything I want my head coach to be. Like, just give me these guys. I want two meatheads that love football, but are also like actual leaders and not staring in the mirror, plucking their eyebrows and pumping up the crowd, thinking that's coaching. To answer your question, Brock, yes, I would do that. Also start 2 running backs and wide receivers and 2 flex from this lineup. I mean, I think you're starting 2 running backs in your flexes, right?
Yep.
So, which running back would you sit out of those?
I would sit Kenneth Walker. No,
I think I
I'd
might
probably
sit
sit
Brees Hall.
Ramondre.
Oh, I'm not saying Ramondre.
Oh, yeah, we got 3 different answers there, so that doesn't really help. But definitely
Assuming
4
Damian
running
Harris
backs.
is out.
who do the Jets play?
Yeah. Not who I was thinking, actually. I was thinking it was week 1. Jets play Broncos. So yeah, I'm saying Brees Hall. Personally. And then wide receivers, I would start Hopkins and Jacoby.
Yep.
What do we think Robbie Anderson will be like rest of season with Kyler Murray? I think he'll be stupid
Irrelevant.
with an IE at the end of his first name. Don't want him. That's like he'll be wide receiver 4 or 5, probably.
So, Robbie Anderson on Arizona, like people are just saying like, oh, he's just going to take over Marquise Brown role that Marquise Brown going down. Marquise Brown was doing like crossing routes and he was working the middle of the field. I do not see Robbie Anderson whatsoever getting within the middle between the hashes, right?
Probably not, but this is also like Robbie Anderson has been very discouraged, right? He's been a locker room problem. He's getting into fights on the sidelines with his coaches. And it's not like he's entering a well-oiled machine and a fantastic culture. Like it's already burning down and he's coming in already pissed off, wanting to like add more fuel to the fire. Like I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's like don't expect a Marquise Brown performance or anything.
Right.
Not that Marquise Brown's an unbelievable talent, but yeah. Let's say rest of the season. I'll say Robbie Anderson's wide receiver 48, something around there. Michael Alexander's quarterbacks were Carr and Cousins. Who would you rather have between the 2 rest of season? Cousins, yeah.
Kirkland.
Okay, well, this is all we got. We're going to be logging off and coming back on in a few minutes for Lombardi sweep, which we are talking about the Packers, talking about the last couple losses, talking about previewing the game against Washington. A lot of good stuff for betting, for fantasy and stuff like that. If you want to rejoin, ask questions, hang out, do whatever you got to do. But yeah, we will be back in like 5-ish minutes.